Hey, what's up everybody, Nexel here. Today we are playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and we are going to be doing 3 videos for this week's new update. Because when you look at the notices, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So the first video, we're going to be talking about this information packet that they pretty much sent us about upcoming events and certain things that we should pay attention for the game moving forward. The next video is going to be about the special falling price deal, and then we'll do our poll in that video. I'll kind of talk about it a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and do the free poll for that. And then the rest of it's going to be this week's weekly jewel extravaganza, as well as the other things that are coming this week. So the rest of these notices, Union Cross, the Spirit parts, all of that, I'm going to wrap into one video at the end. So let's go ahead and talk about the first thing, which is this informational packet. Now remember that starting in July, they're going to start doing this thing where they give us more information about what's coming up in the game. So we can kind of plan ahead. We can kind of look ahead and see, okay, we're going to have an event here. There's going to be like a high score challenge here. So they give us this little heads up, knowing what's coming ahead. So let's go ahead and jump into this right away. So the first thing I noticed is that we actually only really got some great new stuff after hitting 10 million downloads for the game, and I really hope it doesn't require 10 million downloads every single time in order for us to get some cool stuff, because some of this stuff you kind of think should be stuff that we get normally. Like, for example, this first one here. So these are all the things that are available as of today, July 8th. The first thing is going to be the returning Hades Cup. This should really be something we get at least once every month or two. And this is the first time we got it in a very long time. So I hope we don't have to keep hitting weird landmarks in order to get like really good events, because that would honestly be a waste, because we need more things. Like, as players, we need more content to pass, things that reward us with some good things, rather than just waiting for the next big thing. Because when you think about it, we have 10 million downloads, and I believe when the stained glass medals, so like stained glass 1 EX plus, when that came out about a year ago, I think maybe a year and a half ago, we were at, I think, 8 million. So it's like, what's happening to these 10 million downloads if they're not sticking around to play the game? So I hope we don't have to keep hitting these weird landmarks in order for us to get some good events, because we should be getting good events regardless of what else is going on in this game. So first thing, you're going to be able to get up to 6,000 jewels. Now keep in mind that it's up to 6,000 jewels, and you're not going to be getting them in bits. You're going to be getting them only in 2 parts of the mission, where one quest gives you 1,000 and then the final one gives you 5,000. So unfortunately, you have to kind of beat the whole event in order to get the 6,000 jewels, and the last one is going to be the big one that gives you 5,000 jewels. So if you can't beat the last one, can't get the 5,000 jewels, you're really only making 1,000 jewels. So keep that in mind. It says get up to 6,000. It means you can either get 0 jewels, 1,000 jewels, or the full 6,000 jewels. So keep that in mind. It's not a guaranteed 6,000 jewels, but it is another avenue for people to get some free jewels. Next thing, we are going to have a special event. So this special event is really just something in order to net some extra draw tickets. And remember that these draw tickets can be anything. So here are the draw tickets and their associated banner. So right now, I still have 30 draw tickets left, and remember that these draw tickets can honestly be almost anything. So unfortunately, I think the new Kairi, so Kingdom Hearts 3 Kairi B, as well as Kingdom Hearts 3 Xion, are not in this poll, but look at all these supernovas that could potentially be that draw ticket. So remember that draw tickets are sort of free pulls, and the game gives you them. They can become whatever they want. So while the odds are low for you hitting a supernova, they're not 0. And considering that the draw tickets are free pulls, meaning that you didn't have to pay for jewels in order to get those pulls, they are really decent, because even if you get something you don't want, you can go ahead and sell it. So if you get some weird tier 2 medal that you're never going to use ever again, you can go ahead and sell it. It's not like you spent any money to get that one draw ticket. So draw tickets are super sweet. They are free, which is always nice, and you can actually earn them in this event. So you can get up to 7 draw tickets from this event alone, and that's 7 free medals. Alright, moving on, it is another Deluxe Lux ranking rewards week, meaning that the higher you score in the Lux ranking, the more prizes you're going to get. So that's a normal thing from here on out. You know, every month we get 1 week that's called Raid Week, where everyone does their best in order to score in the top 1,000. You get a nice title, you get some cool stuff, and you're going to get some gems. Cool stuff here. Alright, so this is really nice that actually for the 10 million downloads worldwide, we are getting 10,000 jewels. Now remember that the rough estimation of joules to dollar is $1 equals 100 joules. So they're pretty much saying, hey, here's $100, you know, congrats for hitting this landmark, and here's some stuff to celebrate. So 10,000 joules is nothing to laugh at when you think about how much it is monetarily in real world dollars. So that's really sweet that they gave us 10,000 joules, and hopefully everyone hasn't just blown it off right away, because 10,000 joules now is going to be just as valuable as 10,000 joules 2 months from now. So you would never really know what's coming up, and it's kind of up to you to decide what you think is worth pulling on, but we'll talk about the new banner that we just got in just a little bit. So the reason I wanted to dedicate kind of a separate video to this informational thing is because there's some weird updates that we're getting. So these two specifically. So let's talk about this July 11th update, which is coming to us on Thursday. So the damage multiplier for when you use an advantageous attribute, meaning if you're hitting a power enemy with a magic metal, hitting a speed enemy with a power metal, or hitting a magic enemy with a speed enemy. I'm sorry, hitting a magic enemy with a speed metal, that causes that weakness damage. So the big yellow letters that show up when you correctly match hitting a Heartless with its weak attribute. So once this update goes live, you will be able to do more damage when you use an advantageous attribute. So that's like that super effective damage when you hit an enemy for its weakness. It shows up again in big yellow letters, and they are increasing that damage multiplier. Now keep in mind, right now I think the damage multiplier between a normal attack and a super effective attack, I believe, is times 2.5, which is actually sort of a big deal, because if you're going to be increasing this damage multiplier, that actually makes it more viable to use monocolored keyblades. And this kind of goes with the theme for the month, where they gave monocolored keyblades a big boost in strength, because they gave us the booster. So going, for example, into the Diamond Dust, so this is my Diamond Dust right now, and look at that last multiplier of 7.94. That's because we got a booster for this month that increases the strength of all the monocolored blades. So again, here are all the boosters for the month. They only correspond to the monocolored blades, meaning that we are not getting a boost for Fairy Stars, we are not getting a boost for Moogle of Glory, we're not getting a boost for Starlight. So it goes with the theme of the month that they're trying to force us into using monocolored blades and using specific attribute weakness. So if I'm fighting a power enemy, they want me to be using magic metals. And why I think this is sort of worth paying note to is because this kind of thing, if they keep it beyond this month, so if it goes into August, September, if they keep it for the rest of the game, essentially, that's actually going to bring back the monocolored blades. Because remember that the big thing about the tricolored blades is that you can have multiple metals that sort of buff themselves, and then you're able to deal some real high damage. So for example, this is like a monocolored, or I'm sorry, this is like a multicolored blade here, because you've got power, you've got speed, you've got magic, you've got all the attributes in here. But if they increase the damage multiplier of hitting for weakness, then you might actually be better off using a monocolored blade like Diamond Dust, because if the enemy is power and you're going in with like a Fairy Star setup, so we're hitting it with, you know, magic here, we're hitting it with power here, we're hitting it with speed here. But if that damage multiplier goes up, you might just consider hitting them with magic every single time. So for example, we're hitting for effective damage here, super effective damage here. This is normal damage because we're hitting a power enemy with a power metal. And then this is weak damage, actually, as in we are hitting them for lower, and it's actually decreasing the amount of damage that we give with this one here. So it might bring the monocolored blades back into light, because it allows you to hit for higher damage multipliers. And remember that in this game, damage multipliers is what's going to make something really, really good. That's why everyone says that Fairy Stars is really good, because it has high multipliers. But if it's more important to hit for weakness all the time, so again, hitting power enemies with magic metals, hitting speed enemies with power metals, or hitting magic enemies with speed metals, if that becomes a bigger multiplier, then it might be more beneficial for you to keep using those monocolored blades and keep hitting the enemy with what it's weak for. So I think that's actually a very, very important update to pay attention to, because it can really just bring those keyblades, which everyone's been ignoring, back to light, because everyone uses fairy stars, everyone talks about how it's the best, but it's the best because of its multipliers. And this notice is saying that they're increasing the multipliers for hitting for weakness damage. So this is a really, in my opinion, a very big update. It can sway the course of the game based on what the multipliers are going to be. So for example, right now it's sitting about ×2 or ×2.5 for hitting for weakness. If they increase that to hitting ×4 damage, that can be very, very crucial for dealing the right amount of damage for the enemy and picking which Keyblade to go in with. So keep that in mind, that this damage multiplier thing can be very crucial to how we proceed in the game. The next thing is this July 18th update, where they enhance Supernova Plus medals so that they are on par with other Supernova Plus medals. Please wait on the update on the 18th for more details. So what this means to me is that they realize that some of these Supernova medals that they're giving us, the ones that come in the Supernova deal at the beginning of the month, the ones that come out in the banner right now, some of them are really weak in comparison to others. So for example, let's go into my inventory and let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so in the Sleeping Lion, this was one of the first Supernova Plus medals that ever came out, Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora, but its multiplier is so weak, its strength is so weak by today's standards, because remember, today's standards is that you're having something around strength plus 2,000 or 28,000, but this is only scratching like almost 23,000, but not exactly, so it's still missing a lot of damage. Its multiplier is really low in comparison, so it's 8.4 the later it is in the Keyblade, or 10.51 the earlier it is in the Keyblade. But when you compare it to stuff like Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora, and Riku, this thing's got a multiplier of 15.47, which is crazy. When you compare it to, let's see, what's another good medal? Guardian Form Sora, it has a huge multiplier. So these are both Supernova medals. Guardian Form Sora, Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora, they're both Supernova medals, but Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora is a lot weaker in comparison to other Supernova medals. Not only that, but we still have Tier 8 Supernova medals, which is kind of weird because they are significantly weaker than their Tier 10, or I'm sorry, Tier 10, goodness, Tier 9 counterparts. So for example, Supernova Plus Key Art 19, it's got really low strength in comparison to today's standard. So again, this is about 21,000 strength. Its multiplier is okay, but the trade-off is that it's Tier 8, meaning it's only got that 230% special attack bonus, whereas Tier 9s are getting 280% special attack bonus. So that 50% extra damage makes a really big difference. And I think the medals that they're going to update are, again, those Tier 8 ones and the early Tier 9 ones, like Kingdom Hearts 3 Young Master Xehanort, Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora, Kingdom Hearts 3 Riku. So I hope they kind of pump them up, because when you look at a banner like the one we have right now, so this Supernova banner right here, it guarantees you a medal that can be upgraded to Supernova Plus in 3 draws, but if you pull into something like Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora, that medal almost is useless for you unless you don't have like a Kingdom Hearts 3 Kairi to buff you or something like that. So there's a lot of medals in the Supernova Plus pool where some of them are really good, but alternatively some of them are really bad. So I think they're going to update those 3. I definitely think that this is, it's both a good and a bad move dependent on your playstyle. So if you're the kind of player that always bought into the new things, you always bought all the great new things that came out, that could potentially be bad for you, because this update is going to be free, meaning that no player had to pay anything in order to get this little boost here. So let's go here. So yeah, those Supernova Plus medals, they're going to be getting a boost, and this is going to all players for free. So if you're someone who continually bought new stuff, trying to keep up with the meta, then here comes this update that's saying, hey, these ones that used to suck are going to become good again. Then it's like, well, what did you waste all that money in between for? Or what was all that money in between going towards? Because this is a free update for everyone. So if you're kind of the player that saved, that kind of just stuck around with the Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora, used it as much as you possibly could, this is really good for you, because if they update a medal like that, then it's like, okay, well, I got this update for free, and I got to save jewels because I didn't have to keep buying into the next update. So it's a good and a bad move. I think it's generally overall a good move for all players, because regardless of your status, whether or not you're someone that always paid into the new stuff and kept updated, or someone who just held off, saved a bunch of jewels, and is going to still get that update, it's good for all players because all players receive that benefit. So I think it's actually pretty cool that they're doing this, because again, some of these Supernova Plus medals, they are in that guaranteed banner poll where it's like you're going to get one every 3 draws, but if it's one of the ones that suck, then it's just like, oh my gosh, what was all those jewels for? So I think that's pretty sweet that we're getting that nice little update. Again, we'll wait till that day to kind of see what they're going to give us, but for now, I think it's going to be good. I am looking forward to it. Last thing is going to be starting July 19th, we are going to get an event that can net us up to 5,000 jewels. So July's big bonus challenge, a new event starting in July, get up to 5,000 jewels. Now keep in mind, this is just like that Hades Cup announcement where it's get up to 5,000 jewels, meaning that the event might be really hard, only the last quest in the event is going to give you jewels, and then you can't beat that last event. So up to 5,000 jewels means anywhere from 0 to 5,000 jewels. So while you're getting excited saying that, oh, we have more chances to get free jewels, don't expect those jewels to come at no cost. They might be tied to an event or to a quest that's just really difficult unless you have all the appropriate traits, all the right medals. So don't expect 5,000 jewels, but look forward to the chance at getting them. I think this is actually pretty cool because a lot of us lately have been complaining that there's a lot of medals coming out, but not a lot of reasons to pull for them. So we don't have the content making it worth it to pull for it. While I think that 5,000 jewels is a nice reward and it's definitely something people are going to shoot for, remember that if you can't beat the event with the medals that you have and you have to pull for new medals in order to get those 5,000 jewels, it's not worth it if you spend more than 5,000 jewels. So for example, let's say a banner comes out and it is a 5 Mercy banner. It's going to be 3,000 jewels per draw and you have to do all 5. So that's 15,000 jewels in order to beat a quest that only gives you 5,000 jewels. So keep that in mind, that's not worth it. You still lost 10,000 jewels in that trade, but if you're able to beat it with the stuff you've got on hand, then definitely go for it, because that's free 5,000 jewels if you don't have to spend to get those 5,000 jewels. Lastly, we've got a high score challenge coming on July 19th, and it is going to be the gem challenge. So I'm glad they're making this sort of a routine thing where once a month we're going to be getting a high score challenge that can net you gems. Because again, as someone who's been playing for a long time, gems are one of the most crucial, vital resources that you have in this game, because gems are used to update your keyblades, and updating your keyblade is probably one of the best moves you can make in the entire game because it increases a slot multiplier. And going back to when we were talking about damage multipliers, metal multipliers, that is one of the most important parts of this game, is increasing your damage via multipliers. So making sure you're properly buffed, making sure your medals are giving you that special attack bonus percentage, making sure your Keyblade slots are going to be having high percentage values on them, or I'm sorry, high multiplier values on them. So jewels are very important, but gems are also very important. They are one of the staple resources that have never aged for as long as the game has been out. So again, while medals come and go, while there's a really good medal now that's probably not going to be good in the future, the gems that you get now are going to be just as valuable in the future as they are right now, because you're able to put them into your Keyblades and make higher multipliers, and those multipliers never decay no matter how long you play this game for. So I really like that high score challenge. I am glad they are bringing it back, and I'm glad that it's giving us moon gems, because moon gems are really hard to come by. If I score high enough in this one, I'll actually be able to, I think I'll be able to max rarity all my Keyblades at that point. I'm not really sure. Let me double check here. 30. No, sorry. I still need, I'm still looking for 10 moon gems to make sure all my reverse Keyblades are shiny. But again, it's going to get me closer to that. Every month Coliseum that we get is going to get me closer to that. So hopefully that high score challenge is going to be pretty sweet. It's pretty nice because it kind of lets you know, like, hey, the medals that we're giving you right now, they're going to be applicable in that high score challenge. So anyone who's got, for example, Kingdom Hearts 3 Xion or Kingdom Hearts 3 Kyrie B, odds are those are going to be percentage medals in that high score challenge. Remember though that they did take the trait medal and it can no longer be put in the pet slot. So that is high score challenge multiplier that is gone. So keep that in mind. It's not worth it to just do the one pull anymore. Get the trait medal for the high score challenge featured percentage medal and then putting it in your pet slot, because that strategy no longer works with the new update where they gave us stackable traits. So keep that in mind. That is not going to work. One thing I do want to note, and this is again for people that haven't been playing for a long time, is that we used to have high score challenges where they gave you medals, where they gave you usable medals that could like attack, deal damage, stuff like that. So I don't know why they took that away. Maybe they just ran out of ideas or something. I'm not really sure, but Global has a lot of high score challenge medals that they actually skipped in comparison to the Japanese version. So for example, Cloud and Leon, that one was skipped. I'm blanking on some of the other ones that were skipped, but there are a lot of high score medals that were skipped in the global version that they had in the JP version. So I don't know why they don't make a high score challenge for those medals. I don't know why they're not releasing new high score challenges that have featured medals. So for example, let me give you a quick example of what I'm talking about here. So back in the day, you could earn medals from high score challenges. For example, like Roxas and Axel and Xion. This was a high score challenge reward from 2-3 somewhere along the lines, 2-3 years ago. So you could earn this by scoring high in the high score challenge. Another medal that you could earn, let's see, for example, was going to be, I believe it's a tier 5 medal. Let's go here. Was it a tier 5 medal? Yeah, here it is. SP Sora, or the Tron form Sora. So this was another high score challenge medal that you were able to get if you scored high enough. And it's like, I don't know why they did away with this. I like that format because it's like, hey, you tried your best, you did some good strategy, and you were able to score in the top 5,000. Here's a free medal to commemorate the fact that you made it that high. So I don't know why they stopped doing that. I wish they would do more of it because it was just really cool to kind of use your brains in order to get higher scores in the high score challenge, and then get like a medal that's sort of limited edition, because some of these medals actually never came back. So for example, SP Sora never came back. The Roxas and Axel and Xion never came back. The King Donald and Goofy never came back. Or I'm sorry, was this VIP? I think this one was VIP actually. But the point is that like they stopped giving out medals for high score challenges, and I wish they kept doing that because it makes it more worthwhile. It was a reward that everyone was like, yes, we are going to try hard, we are going to figure out strategies in order to pass this high score challenge content. But nowadays people are just running and gunning like a bunch of high percentage medals, and then it's just like, oh, I'm top 1,000. Well, it's because I had like a bunch of medals that gave me 21%, so of course I'm going to be top 1,000, and it's kind of like a whales game now. I missed back in the day, high score challenges used to be about you using your brain and figuring out like the different types of enemies, figuring out debuffs, things like that, but now it's really just a whale percentage run. If you can get the highest percentage, then you're probably going to score the highest. So with that being said, that is the update for this first one where we talk about the upcoming stuff. Because I think it was just really important to talk about these, where is it? Where is it? Right here. I think it's really important to talk about this informational stuff because it kind of gives us a forecast for what's coming up next, things we can plan around, and kind of just formulate our game a little bit further. It's something we all wanted, was kind of a calendar, and this is kind of a weird format for it, but I'll still appreciate the information. Alright, with that being said, that is the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If there are any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer when I have the time. But as always, everyone, until next time, take it easy.